like making these videos out in my backyard, but even in October, there's still some problems. Hi everyone, it's Lynn, and I'm back with another episode of Just a Bite of Pronunciation. Today I want to help you with 6 pairs of words. The pronunciation of these words might be a bit confusing because when the meaning changes, the pronunciation changes. But with just a little practice, you'll be able to understand the differences and use them more confidently. But right now, let's get to the practice. Here's the first one. Contract. Contract. Contract is a verb that has several different meanings. But the one that we hear used a lot these days is to contract a disease. In other words, to get a disease from someone else. For example, you can contract COVID-19 at a party. Let's repeat that. You can contract COVID-19 at a party. Contract. Now, let's look at the same word used as a noun. Contract. Contract. A contract is an agreement, usually on paper, between 2 or more people. When you buy a house, you sign a contract. Let's repeat. When you buy a house, you sign a contract. Notice here the stress is on the first syllable. Contract. Contract. Let's look at another verb. Project. Project. Project means to push out. In a movie theater, the movie is projected onto the screen. Here's a sentence. A public speaker needs to project her voice. Let's repeat that. A public speaker needs to project her voice. Project. Project. Also, make sure you're pronouncing the J sound. Project. If you need more help with this J sound, take a look at my video that I've done on that sound already. I'll put the link up on the screen for you. But then we have the noun with the same spelling. In school or at work, you may have projects to do. Project, project. Notice the stress on the first syllable, and the vowel sound of the first syllable is ah. Project, project. I have to do a project next week. Repeat that. I have to do a project next week. Another verb, produce. Produce is a verb that means to create, make, or grow something. Farmers produce a lot of wheat in Kansas. Let's repeat. Farmers produce a lot of wheat in Kansas. Produce, produce. But when we use that same word as a noun or an adjective, the stress is on the first syllable. Produce, produce. The part of the supermarket where you find fruit and vegetables is called the produce section. I'll give you time to repeat that. The part of the supermarket where you find the fruit and vegetables is called the produce section. Okay, here's another one. Subject, subject. Subject can mean to be dominated or overpowered. Here's an example. The girl was subjected to a lot of bullying at school. Again, you repeat. The girl was subjected to a lot of bullying at school. So again, the stress is on the second syllable, subject. For the noun, we say subject. If you study grammar, you know the subject is an important part of the sentence. So let's practice this question. What's the subject of the sentence? What's the subject of the sentence? The next one, perfect. Perfect. Perfect is an easy verb to learn because really it just means to make something perfect. You might say this, I want to perfect my pronunciation. Again, I want to perfect my pronunciation. When we use that same word as an adjective, we stress the first syllable. Perfect. Perfect. And notice in my pronunciation, I say perfect. Perfect. It sounds like an sound. Perfect. I know my pronunciation isn't perfect, but it's okay. You repeat that. I know my pronunciation isn't perfect, but it's okay. Now let's pronounce all of these words just as the verb. Remember, we're going to put the stress on the final syllable. Contract. Contract. Notice the vowel sound in the first syllable is contract. Project. Project. Again, that first syllable vowel sound is project. Project. Produce. Produce. Subject. Subject. Perfect. Perfect. Now let's pronounce these words when we use them as either a noun or an adjective. Remember, the stress is on the first syllable. Contract. Contract. Project. Project. Produce. Produce. Subject. Subject. Perfect. Perfect. This last pair of words is a little bit different. It's not so much the stress that changes, it's the pronunciation inside of the word that changes when we go from a verb to a noun. It's a common word that we use. Graduate. That's the verb. Graduate. Graduate is what we do when we finish school or the university. Let's say that slowly. Graduate. So it sounds like the number 8 at the end. And in the middle again, we have that j sound. Graduate. Let's pronounce this sentence. I hope to graduate soon. I hope to graduate soon. But when we refer to the person, we use the noun form, and the pronunciation is a little bit different. Graduate. Graduate. That last vowel sound at the end is an Graduate. Graduate. Let's say this. Bill is a graduate of the University of Texas. Bill is a graduate of the University of Texas. There are more of these pairs of words in English where the pronunciation changes depending on the use. Let me know if you liked this video down below and if you want more videos on these kinds of words. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do that down below. And also click on the little bell if you want notification when I make a new video. So keep on practicing your pronunciation and we'll see you next time. Nos vemos.